debated back and forth whether or not I was going to make this video. For those that may be unaware of exactly what's going on, as I'm recording this, yesterday, my dog Miller, who has been by my side all these years, we got him back in 2017. Unfortunately, yesterday he passed away. He had what's called I get the name right. I'm sorry. It's bear with me. It's acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Basically what that is that, like, when you have, like, lymphobia, or, it's the common thing that's, in dogs, like, especially in, like, Labradors and, like, Golden Retrievers, and I think Boxers and other breeds of dogs. Basically what happened was that, we noticed around his 8th birthday, my family and I, that Miller had become a lot more tired. He would be going to bed a lot sooner. I figured he was just getting old, and that's why I figured, well, dogs get old, right? Especially when one of them turns 8 years old, and it turns out he was actually battling cancer the whole time. And earlier this week, I think it was around Monday, or last Monday I should say, my parents took him in for his checkup at the vet, and what they found out was that his blood counts were, like, really high. Now, at first they thought it was because of the vaccines that he got. He got about 2 or 3 vaccines in him, just because I think it was around that time where, like, dogs are supposed to get vaccines, especially at that kind of age. And so, like, they found out that I think blood counts are usually supposed to be at, like, 1 to 4,000 or something like that. His was at, like, 27,000. It was not looking good for him. And on top of that, he gained about 10 pounds, which my parents were actually shocked about, because 10 pounds on a dog is like 50 pounds on a human. And what you found out later on, or what we found out later on, was that it was like a lot of the liquid fluids, that got into his body. He was basically trying his best to fight off the cancer. And, on Friday, my parents told me that it was just not looking good. He probably at that point, like, it could have been at any time, honestly. They were being more optimistic, giving him maybe like a few weeks, maybe a month and a half, possibly even 2 to live. We were never going to do any chemotherapy on our dog, because we do not want our dog to suffer like that, especially with, like, extending the chemotherapy, because then the dog's just going to be miserable and upset. And then it got worse over the weekend when we found out that the blood counts had doubled since the last veterinarian visit, and things were going to get very serious in the next couple of days, where Miller possibly could have bled out, and there could have been the option of, like, a blood transfusion. But my parents, at that point, after they got the call from the vet on Saturday, on August 9th, 2025, they made the very difficult decision to put him down for good. And I was told this by my dad, who pulled me aside and said, "This is it. It's not looking good. And I actually, I had a dentist appointment um, that day that I was going to go to. And I'm being told this news like literally 15 minutes before I head out for my appointment. So, with all the tears rolling down my eyes, I said goodbye to Miller. I closed the door and I was heartbroken and sobbing just the whole way to my appointment. I managed to hold it together for the dentist, and they did my thing. They're very quick over where I go at, and it's actually relatively close by, so I figured that once I was done, I was just going to go home, and Miller was going to be gone from my life forever. But then something kind of incredible happened. I get home, and I'm sitting there. I get home, and my mom, my dad, and my brother are all sitting there with Miller. I walk up to Miller, and Miller he's just out of it, and he, with all the strength he had left, he decided to sniff my face because he doesn't give anyone kisses other than like guests, which is like the strangest thing, like people that come over to our house. And he got to see his entire family one last time for all of us to be around together. And my dad at that point said it was time. My mom held him. He said thank you for everything. My brother said goodbye. I hugged him, and I really did not want to let him go, and I actually ended up walking with my dad outside to help load Miller into the truck. My dad hugged me. He was crying. He said this is the right thing to do. And then Miller was driving off, and I waved goodbye to him. And so my last image of seeing Miller was him in the back of a truck, and he was driving away. So I nearly fell over, and I sobbed for hours. I wrote down all my thoughts, and waking up this morning, I cried a little bit more, seeing his pictures, seeing the state that he was in. I actually took some pictures yesterday of just how he was and his condition, and it just got worse, and it was time for him to go, unfortunately. So later on that day, I actually ended up going for a walk around our neighborhood. I went the same route that my dog went on that morning, and it was just so weird not having him by my side. Like, I literally was holding my hand in like a fist, almost as if I was walking Miller by a leash, almost as if I still had him with me. And I remember telling myself, "Come on, buddy, let's go for a WALK." We never said walk, otherwise he would get like way too excited, and yeah, but it was so peaceful on that walk, and yet I was also so sad at the same time. So I guess I wanted to make this because I wanted to give everyone just kind of an update, which I know it's something that people do not want to hear, unfortunately. It sucks when you lose like anyone in your life, especially a pet. I know people are gonna say, well, it's just a pet, but to me it's like more than that. They're not communicating that they're in pain like people do. I joked with my mom. I said like it was probably like the cuteness pill or something like that they take, but just having that companion by your side. And I think the fact that life with them is so short, especially with dogs. I know with like dog years, it's like every 7 years they get older, something like that. But um, it really is just like it just sucks right now, and there's gonna come a day where I'm gonna get through it. I'll probably shed some more tears. I literally, I'm emotionally exhausted from yesterday because I was crying to the point where my head started to hurt. Like that's how bad it was. And I'm gonna keep myself busy. I'm gonna continue to go to work, continue to interact with my friends and family, do some stuff, and 'cause that's what you kind of have to do. You, as much as it sucks to hear, like you do have to keep going because you really don't want to stay stuck in the house all day. But it's okay to grieve as well. That's why I turned this camera on. This is my grieving. This is my healing process. And so, I remember when we first got him, how scared he was, and knowing that he was just going to be so comfortable with us in his life, and just because he was just such a huge part of this YouTube channel of mine. I put him in so many videos. He loved you guys so much. He really did. He loves being on camera and being the center of attention. He really did love you guys a lot. And even though a lot of you probably don't know him that well, I had a series here called Mondays with Miller. At one point I made the playlist private because I thought it was like cringy for some stupid reason, because like the first video I was going like, "You good boy, Miller, you good boy." And it's like, take a shot every time I say a line in that video. But all those videos have now been made public forever because I want people to go back and see what life was like with Miller. He was just the sweetest dog. He was so cautious. He loved everyone. He loved people. He loved other dogs. Well, mostly other dogs. There were a few that he wasn't so fond of, but he was just... Oh, and he hated foxes and deer in his backyard. He would go chasing after them, and my heart does feel heavy right now. I've distracted myself by playing video games, watching movies, just doing something to keep my mind off him, but this is gonna take a while, and I mean, like, time will pass. We got football season coming up. I'm wearing my Eagles Super Bowl 59 champions t-shirt. And what else is funny is when we first got Miller, this was back in 2017, and for those of you that follow football, you would know that this was the year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl for the first time, when Carson Wentz went down with the ACL injury and Nick Foles had to come in as the backup quarterback and beat Tom Brady, of all people, in the Super Bowl. And then, literally months ago, the Eagles won again and beat another dynasty with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And I find that to be... It's like... Miller, at the beginning of his life, was there. He was almost like a good luck charm. Miller, at the beginning of his life, saw the Eagles win a Super Bowl, and then at the end of his life, the very tail end of his life, he saw them win another Super Bowl. I mean, how beautiful is that? Miller, I know you're in a better place right now. I had another dog many years ago named Murphy. She was a chocolate lab, and I was around like 10 or 11, like in 5th grade when she passed away. I was probably a little too young to understand what that meant at the time. And it's not like I'm trying to like compare like her death to this one, because they're both devastating, obviously. This one probably hits a little bit more harder for me because I'm now old enough to remember it. I spent so many hours taking care of the dog when like my parents would go away from a trip or for a trip. Um, Miller was really rarely by himself in this household. Like when my parents retired from work, they were there. When I had my internship, right as I graduated from college, I had my internship, and usually I was around the house a lot to watch Miller. And so he was really never alone. And my brother would come in and help. Like he was never alone. Like everyone pitched in. It was an all hands on deck sort of thing where everyone got to contribute. It was a team effort, and Miller really appreciated and loved every one of us. And I'm heartbroken that he's gone. This special part of my life is now just his flesh is gone, but like his spirit will. He's always going to be beside me. Him and my other dog Murphy will always be beside me forever. Um, so I guess yeah, I just wanted to give everyone an update on that. Um, and just to kind of let people know what's going on, and if you are going through something like this, whether that's a pet or like a family member, like a parent or a grandparent or a best friend or a relative or anyone, like if you have someone going through something like this, please talk to someone. Um, Rely so much on your support system and do things that make you happy in this life so that way it can help you during this grieving process. Um, it's going to be a difficult rest of the month for me because of what has happened here. And I mean, eventually I'll move on, but right now it hurts too much. So, um, thank you for listening to me and my TED Talk. But like, seriously, thank you guys again for your support. I really do. I appreciate it. I'm just, I don't know. It's tough right now finding words. That's why it's a lot better for me to write down what I'm feeling, and this is a tough blow right now to me and my family. Um, but that's part of life. I've dealt with death before in my family. I've had aunts, uncles, grandparents, even like the next door neighbor had a tragic death many years ago. That's just part of life. It is what it is. Um, I'm going to. Some people are asking, like, not just here, but like also in my personal life. It's like maybe you should go back to YouTube and use that as a distraction. Um, can I be honest with y'all? I've been thinking about coming back. I'm not gonna make any promises, but it's just something that right now I'm kind of looking into. I want to like redo everything. I don't want to do it on this old camera anymore. I want to do it the way that I want to do it. But right now is just probably not the best time. Unfortunately, I'm still kind of in a grieving process. Um, but yeah, Miller, I loved you so much. You were the silliest dog. You were the best dog. Rest in peace. Tell Murphy I said hi. And I'll see you again soon one day. One day very, very soon. But other than that, I'm sure Miller's up there in doggy heaven right now. He's enjoying all the treats and running around and just living it up. And I take a lot of comfort knowing that at least I got to say goodbye to Miller, unlike Murphy. So I was there to at least say goodbye. So I'm just so thankful for, it's a short 8 years. He was just so special in my life, and I will never forget him. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I love you so much, Miller. Take care, everyone.